My 7-year-old sister is not sleep trained and I need my own room. Oh, geez. Hello, I'm writing this as her 18-year-old sister, B. I share a room with her, so you can kind of see my dilemma, lols. I have 2 problems that need solving, so 2 essential questions. 1. How do you train a kid to sleep in their own bed? Any tips and tricks? I know this process is usually for younger kids. And B, assuming baby toddler, has anyone dealt with something similar? 2. AITA for wanting to switch the rooms around with my sister so I can have my own space and so I don't have to deal with this anymore. Still love her, but my sleep is falling victim to how much I care. Okay, so as for issue 1, I just want to preface this by saying no slander on my dad and stepmom. They both work very hard and very long hours. So raising a young kid is tough on their schedule, not an excuse, but it's why I help out. So please understand this moving forward. Thank you. So every single night, my little sister sleeps in my dad and stepmom's room. Stepmom is her mum were half sisters. Literally every night, it's a miracle if she doesn't. Usually after she falls asleep in their bed, my dad will bring my sister back to our room and place her in her actual bed because she kicks or they don't want her there that night. This part is somewhat on me, but every night to sleep, I watch my comfort shows, i.e. Bob's Burgers, Great Norths, and Adventure Time, mostly Bob's Burgers, since I've watched it almost every day since I was 9, but I watch with the lowest brightness my computer can take and low volume and some brown noise so I can sleep deeper. I don't usually use brown noise at my dad's because I don't have my machine anyway. Those are my sleep habits, but those aren't my sister's sleep habits, so that wakes her up. But yeah, after she wakes up, she'll walk back to my dad's and stepmom's room and go back in their bed for the night since my parents are usually knocked out by then. But however, some odd nights, my stepmom or my dad will lock their door when he comes back from dropping my sister off because they're sick of being kicked. And when my sister gets back up and finds the door locked, melting, like tears banging on the door, wailing like a fucking banshee, like she's being beaten or someone's kidnapping her, OMG, which is good for when that does happen. But I was literally shocked the first time, not the last, I saw this. She did this for 3 hours. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. 3 fucking hours. Literally had everyone in the house up and my dad got mad at me for telling her that she has to sleep in our room. I've also seen her stand and jiggle the doorknob for like 20 minutes while she sniffles and cries. And what she usually does, though, is come back to our room and cry and cry and cry until she falls asleep, which takes forever because she's so in her head about her fear of the dark and not sleeping with her parents, which makes it worse. I get so pissed off, but I don't want to yell at her because she's scared of sleeping in her own bed, which is why she acts like this. So I don't want to scare her further and risk more crying and shouting for my dad, but I can't talk calmly. Because 1, she's so loud she can't hear me, and 2, she won't respect my words because my dad is constantly undermining mine, my stepsisters, my brothers, my stepmom's authority, which is crazy, and why she's such a brat in everyday life because no one is disciplining her. That's another issue. But it plays into this. Anyways, I can't sleep because she's crying and she wants sleep because she's scared and not used to sleeping in her bed. So I always tell her, he'll kick anyone or anything's ass that even thinks or tries to hurt you. She'll just giggle, and I get that because you don't know, because she's never seen me fight for her like that, even though I have. I just don't want to expose her to my anger. But at the same time, I'm not always at my dad's because I also live with my mum sometimes. So I understand the fear because even I had trouble sleeping in my room at an older age, I want to say. Also, up to age 7, 9, because my dad is very habitual. I thought my room was scary at my dad's house. So I always slept with my big brother. He always tried to get me to sleep in there. I never cried. I just was like, please. Because he thought it was scary too. There was this hoo-ha window in my room that looked into my backyard that was very messy. So I always thought I saw something moving back there, which freaked me TF out. And my dad worked really late all the time, so it was just him and I there. So sleeping in the same bed was also a safety and comfort thing. But even still, if my brother was gone with a friend or field trip, I could sleep by myself. It was honestly more of a like, hey, I need to know where you are at night. Wasn't a very safe neighborhood as well. But back to my sister, I have gotten her to sleep in our room, I want to say 3 times before. I dim, not turn off the lights, or if they are off, I use a nightlight. Let her get comfy and play a show like Tom and Jerry with non-talking characters, mute it and lower the brightness. And it works, but actually getting her in there is the hard part. I think as long as I build her sleep habits and find what she's comfortable with, it'll work out. So I understand her situation on a personal level, and because I see what's going on. So please give me some and any advice. ESTJ, ill, take it, criticize me, let me know how I can change or do better, especially since I don't want my sister to see this as a punishment, or any advice I should give my stepmom because I don't think my dad sees it as an issue. I will be providing updates, and thank you so much for reading this portion, less than 3. 2. And now, as for issue number 2, this one is a very detailed one. So first, the dimensions of each room. Room 1, where my younger stepsister, sleeps, she's the same age as me, is about 11 x 12 feet. Didn't measure, just a guess. Room 2, where my sister and I sleep, is 11 x 12 feet. I measured this one. Room 3, where my oldest stepsister L sleeps, is, if I had to guess, is IDK, but it's a bit smaller than our rooms. I don't know what their rooms are like. We're not close, and I'm 85% sure they don't like me, which is whatever. I could care less if we have a good relationship. To preface again, lols. My dad and stepmom both work very hard and have long hours. However, not saying don't hate on them, because this is a moral and fairness issue, just like be within reason, because I am very upset with them. And I'd like you to be honest and say what you're thinking and what you think, because I want to show them what you'll think is fair, like an outsider's perspective. Just don't go cray-cray. Okay, I'm going to share as many details as I'm aware of. And be honest, at the end of the day, I am a kid. I am going to have some tood, because teenager. So please mind the swearing. I'm also venting. It's been rough. I would never swear at my parents. Anyway, okay, so this opportunity has risen lols because my oldest stepsister is going away for college. And I was like, gee, my little sister could sleep in there. Here's my reasoning for this. My little sister, as you read above, doesn't sleep in her bed, which I find unfair as what is supposed to be our room. I feel like I was lied to. My dad and brother C have had to ask or remind them, hey, can we have somewhere to sleep, YK, or our own space, which I don't think we should have too, but we have had to, as you'll be able to tell later. But yes, she doesn't sleep in there. And our room is full of her shit, besides the mattresses, which, mine is on the floor. More on that later. You wouldn't be able to tell that 2 people sleep in there. There's little kid crap everywhere. The floor, the closet, the dresser. In the dresser, she has 4 drawers. I have 2. The decorations, the sheet/bedding is all little kid stuff. And on top of that, her stuff is always on my bed. Yes, my bed. For some fucking reason, ill come to my dad's and ill. Why the actual fuck is your dirty tennis bag and stuffed animals on my bed? Cerealsy on top of everything. I like to keep a clean bed. It's OCD related. I wash my bedding on a routine, or don't wear outside clothes on it. Don't let my bags touch it. And there's all her stuff on there. And I also sleep in there more than her. I help around the house a lot, all the time. But everyone, mostly my stepmom, sees the shit I do as magic. I do a lot for the house, and my sister that no one's looking out for but me. And I just feel underappreciated because I've brought this up to my dad, almost crying. Can I at least decorate? I feel like I have no permanence in your life, and it's very suffocating feeling. My feeling and happiness don't matter, you guys, surrounded by little kid things, and you've forgotten me. And he'll be like, okay, but no, because we're on a budget, which fair room stuff is expensive. So I let it go and tried to make myself more pronounced in other ways. I tried and looked around the house for some bedding I liked and made my bed that way. And I gave myself half of the closet instead of 2/6, and put all of my sister's unnecessary junk in a bag in the garage and made more room for my stuff. You still can't tell too much. It's our room, but the little things feel all right. But record scratch, I was talking to my stepmom and she was like, we're going to switch R&H's room so she can have her own space. And particularly for my own sister, I'd get lots of stuff. And then she's like, well, she's 3 bedrooms queen. One of them's twice. And she's closer to our room at night so she can sleep better. And we're going to decorate it with a gymnastic theme. I was like, what the actual faith? UCK? Like, I feel fucking crazy. So the one who, for the record, doesn't even sleep in her room, has no chores, and already has their own goddamn space, gets their own room and gets to decorate for no reason. Like, babe, you have got to be kidding me. Can a bitch just get a poster? Like, what? Oh. And yes, I did tell my dad about how her and my brother were feeling, and not my stepmom, even though she's cool. And I would have, she just wasn't there when I was talking. It shouldn't matter. Why does she get her own room and more decorations? Also, I forgot this detail, but though my sister and Is room have the same square footage as ours, it's a way different layout. Like, her walkway is RLY long. And it's not a plain square like our room. So if they change rooms, like, me and my brother have nowhere and would probably have to sleep on the couch. And I have more reasoning. My oldest stepsister's room is the smallest. And I just feel that the youngest should have the smallest room. It's how I was raised, which is why I'm surprised Elle has it. She just liked the room, I guess. But yeah, I think the youngest should have the smallest room, but especially because she don't even sleep in there. And more detail, my stepsisters have their own rooms, but me and my sister have to share, which I understand. And don't protest, because I wouldn't want to share anyhow. But then my brother comes sometimes, Hez also at college, and they bought this bed for him. It's like a metal cot. It's like $40. And you can imagine the quality for the price, and beggar. And Hez 18. So obviously the beds won't hold us, and constantly breaks, like the slat. Don't stay put, like you have to be extremely still for it not to break, which is like, okay, one of us finally got a bed, but now it's defective. And my so-called bed is under a reversible bed, which is basically a kid's loft bed. So it's very short, and the underneath is meant to be a play area. And when the kid is ready, it turns into a canopy bed, ill-attached. But I put my mattress under there as a way to save space. I came up with the idea, and now my dad and stepmum are under the impressions it's a bunk bed, which isn't. I can't even attempt to sit up under there, though I am a tall kid and my mattress is on the floor. And the three of us, my sister, brother and I, are crammed in there when Hez back from school and we want to see our dad. So three of us have to share, and two people have their own rooms, which they don't seem to recognise as fucked up. My original idea was just to decorate, get me a real bed frame. They even made a mock-up of what I wanted the room to look like. And then I was like, wait a minute, see, my older brother meant to sleep if I decorate. And it's just been like this for so long, I didn't even realise it was wrong. So my solution is simple fucking math. There's 5 kids, 2 at college, L&C, 2 kids there full-time, H&R 1 part-time, yours truly, 2 people have to share rooms, those being the 4 people who don't use their rooms every night in room 3, smaller fucking ratio out of night in room 3. H younger sister, and hi then, L older stepsister, and room 2, 11x 12 feet, me and C big brother. To me it makes perfect sense, but I don't want to suggest change without considering everything. So I told my mum, asked what she would do at her house. She agreed with me, and so does my brother, but also bias YK. So I asked my stepmum and dad, and my dad said he doesn't like the idea because it feels like him pushing Elle out before she's even gone. He asked how I'd feel if that were me, which I was like, fair point, but I know myself and am very fair and reasonable. If I saw her sleeping on the floor and I was moving out, I'd suggest this most likely. It's hard to say, but again, know myself very well. And I wouldn't protest as long as I still had somewhere to go home to. And also, the way I see it, how the hell am I pushing someone out the house when I'm not even in? Hope that makes sense, but like, I'm trying hard not be selfish. The main reason I suggest my little sister sleep in there is because I know for a fact Elle is very territorial and prone to be angry. She spends a lot of time in her room, and I do too, so understandable, and I'd much rather her anger be directed towards H, because she can't be angry with her, she's 7, which would in turn have her be angry with my dad and stepmum, which they deserve. I'm angry, and they can talk her down since they're adults, and it's not like I said, well, fuck you, it's not your room anymore. I just think 2 people should share rather than 3. Also, tell if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's fairly common for people to switch rooms when they move out, like the younger sibling gets a different room when an older sibling moves out, IDK. And I told my stepmum as well, and she brought up a very fair point, which I'm honestly ashamed I didn't consider. She said, UK, even though you and your brother don't have much of a space here. In my mind, I was like, oh, so you're aware then, and just DGAFF, this is my kids' only home. They don't have another home to go to. And I was like, oh. Okay, what's the first discerning point I've heard? Because even though my mum and I aren't close, I still have my own space at her house, but shouldn't say this, I wish I did, but even though being here is stressful, as you can tell, I have house and a room with my mum, but I don't have a home. It's just so non-family like, which is why I try so hard to be closer to them, because even though I work really hard and I stress a lot, I do take this over how damaging my mum is, which they are aware of. It's how I started living with them in the first place. My mum kicked me out 2 years ago, which is why our relationship is terrible, even though it's better now. And I'm living with her primarily. I still don't fully consider my mum like my family in like emotional definitions. That sounds messed up. I know she's my mum, I don't know if I even want to be around her when I'm older, like my brother is, or the family I really have, which is why, like, when they fight me so hard on these things, it's like they don't want me. So yeah, it's my situation. Sorry, guys, this one was really long, like real long. Sorry for that. But if you made it to the end, thank you, and criticize me. Tell me what you think. If this is fair, if I should keep things as they are, should I just tough it out this year? Since I'm graduating high school, just tell me what you think. Please let me know. At the end of the day, I want to be fair, and for things to be fair, if and sorry for the teen lingo and swearing, I know I said like a lot. It's a California thing, I guess. Lols. Be very funny if someone would do a like count. But I appreciate you reading my rambling. Thank you so much. All advice, welcome, less than 3. Oh, and finally, updates will be given. Hopefully I get a happily ever after, and if this makes it to 2 hot takes, HII. I love your stuff. I listen all the time. I love the whole cast. Thanks for always posting and helping me through my days and workouts, you guys. Story 2, I'm so drained. My eyes are puffy, eye bags are to the floor from crying every night. He stresses me out so much. I saw a video saying how being in a toxic relationship ages you and makes you ugly, and I've noticed that it's true. I was looking at pictures of me from summer last year and I was so happy. She was glowing. The light in my eyes was still there. And when I look at myself in the mirror now, all that's gone and all I see is a girl with so much hurt and trauma. It's so sad. Don't I deserve better than this? Is this really my fate? He asked me to go with him to Burger King last night, but I said no. BC, he had previously ignored me when I was trying to say someone, and instead of answering me, he called his friend, so I didn't really feel like going anywhere with him. He then called me from BK to ask what I wanted, and I told him that I'm not hungry and that I don't want anything. He still got me a salad since that's all I eat. He went up to the cashier and ordered there and started asking her how to contact the boss. BC, he wanted to apply there for extra work. Even though he told me a while ago that he didn't want to work there, they were laughing and stuff. Maybe I'm just delusional, but for me, it felt like flirting. And he would never be okay with me laughing like that with a guy or even talk to a random guy, but it's totally okay when he does. So I hung up. He then called me back 10 minutes later and asked why. So I said, why would I want to listen to you flirt, WA girl? He then started screaming at me, calling me fucked in the head, and that he was just trying to get another job. I then knew that he'd fight with me when he got back in the morning. He told me not to touch the joint. BC, we were fighting, so I smoked it. BC, I was stressed when this happened. He then came in and started yelling at me for smoking it and calling me names. All this when he was OTPW, his friend. He told his friend how fecked up I am. Okay, so fast forward. He dragged my hair, threw me around like a doll. I went to the bathroom and wiped my tears. BC, my sister, called, so I had to act like I wasn't crying. My boyfriend then comes storming to the bathroom, so I had to quickly hang up so she wouldn't hear. He unlocked the door from outside and grabbed my hair and asked WTF. I said to her, AB, him, but I didn't say anything, BC. Despite all this, I wouldn't want her to know how badly I'm being treated. I was hysterically crying yet again and told him I didn't say anything. He then said, I'm so sorry, baby. And when I didn't instantly say that it was okay, he started screaming at me again. And this went on for a while. I'm heartbroken, I want to leave. We don't live together, but he kind of lives at my apartment currently and all his stuff is here, so it's hard for me to kick him out. And he never listens. Well, what do? I'm only 21. I can't keep living like this. Story 3. Betrayal after betrayal. My 23FX 26M that I recently separated from really hurt me recently. I'm the mother of his infant child, BTW, because he lied to me about who he was seeing when going on vacation. I took care of our baby, 8 months old at the time, our pets and the house for several days by myself so he could go on this trip to Las Vegas. We still live together because he financially abused me and because I have severe depression, anxiety, and a panic disorder / agoraphobia. I can't afford to live on my own, both financially and mentally right now. I have no family or friends to stay with. Turns out it was his ex, 26F, that caused a lot of problems in our relationship. Oof. We got married when I was 16 and he was 19. Yeah. He went to party with. For a very long time, I harboured resentment for her because she kept popping up and creating issues in our relationship. I was very immature and naive when we started dating, when I was 14 and he was 17. So I put up with a lot of BS, like a lot. I unfortunately allowed him to disrespect me over and over while I waited for him with open arms. I had never seen a healthy relationship growing up, so not very surprising looking back. The fact that he went to see her is not even the real issue. She and I reconciled shortly after my ex and I's separation, before I knew anything about them seeing each other. I confided in her the abuse I endured and the really difficult situation he's left me in. He's a covert narc, has cheated on me, said really terrible things to me, for example, shut up and eat your burger, when I suggested couples therapy after he cheated and my personal therapist recommended it. But she also recommended that together we have to deal with our stuff, and it's critical to deal with your own. Yeah, how? Is it always the conflict? Shall confiding genuine mutual healing? I think in the beginning there's, have these red flags. She said if he refused, it could mean he'd cheat again, which he did. But he trailed me along by saying I had to make the appointment, even though he knows I panic when I make appointments, and it'd take me a long time to do so. I ended up never doing it. She said her son's dad is very similar and that I could talk to her if I needed. She gave me words of advice and encouragement. We both felt like we had healed a large festering wound. It was a huge weight lifted and something I felt like I could finally move forward from. So it was really painful to find out she actually met up and got intimate with him and booked a flight to do it again this month. I thought I was crazy for being hurt by this. Like, I'm just the baby mama. I shouldn't be upset about whatever they're doing, right? I'm still really hurt by her betrayal and his lies. I found her Twitter account, Why Am I Like This, and saw she's been posting about how obsessed she is with him and how excited she is to see him. I don't want him if others have easy access to him. Meanwhile, he's having casual sex with strangers in our town, even had sex with me before I found out about them seeing each other. It's just mind-boggling to me that she would be so fake and pretty much show she doesn't believe my recounts of abuse. She's so obsessed with him after she just said her abusive ex is very similar. Does she think things will be different for her or something? I was devastated for so long. I ended up making a rash decision. She wouldn't reply to me via our one form of communication on social media. So after I found her Twitter and read those tweets, I decided I was going to publicly at her. My account is really small, so I knew pretty much no one would see it except her because I'd be tagging her in the post. In my post, I talked about how I'd had to buy my first plan B because my ex came in me the night before and said I was the best he's ever had, which is all true. She just didn't know about it. Then I tagged her and said, since you don't want to reply to my snap, just wanted to say I've never been backstabbed so hard by someone. I felt really anxious after I posted that because I've never done something like that before. My ex sent me a screenshot that was from her phone of the tweet and told me he thought I was crazy and that it was funny. A little while later, he said, could you not do that again? I just don't want her and her friends to bother you. You guys shouldn't have been communicating anyway. I just kept thinking, you're going to allow her to keep bothering me as long as y'all are together? I've left her alone since then, but it is still really painful and it feels very unresolved. It feels like he's prioritizing her feelings over mine. He has acknowledged what she did to me was very wrong and that his lies were very wrong, but he refuses to do anything constructive about it, kind of like a sorry your feelings were hurt, and that's it. I really just wish they could be held accountable, to know that they will receive possibly no punishment, no acknowledgement at ECTA, just get away with hurting me and have fun while doing it. I hope karma exists. Am I wrong to be upset by them behaving this way? I know I was wrong for tweeting that stuff. It won't happen again because I learned it's not worth my energy. What should I do moving forward? I feel so lost in my life. I use every last bit of energy taking care of our baby and not even taking care of myself. My room/bathroom shows just how much of a mess my mind is. If I didn't have this sweet angel to take care of, I wouldn't be here. I'm scared to trust anyone, but I also deeply crave to not be so lonely. What would you do if you were me? I feel down. Thanks for reading. Story 4, AITA, for telling my partner off for ordering food delivery. So my partner and I have been ordering a lot of food delivery, talking burgers, pizza, burritos, etc. recently. Too much to be considered healthy. He works an 8-5 job that has a 1-hour commute with 3 days in the office and 2 days working from home. So days he works in the office, he is often too tired or stressed to cook. Not sure it is relevant, but I often cook healthier lunches for us on the days he works from home and I'm also home. With my job, often I start later and finish later than him, maybe getting home between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Multiple times I have told him that I would like to be consulted before ordering food delivery, as I'm trying to lose some weight, saying I would often just prefer to organise something for myself and he can have his food delivery alone. Today I had a particularly long and difficult day, a longer day than him. He arrived home at 7 p.m. and at 8 p.m. and I rang him and said, "Hey, I'll be home about 10 p.m. Have you organised any dinner?" He told me, "Yeah, I have cooked us burgers and chips." I arrive home to find the burgers that he cooked himself were actually greasy burgers from a food delivery 2-for-1 special. I got a bit annoyed at this and told him that while I appreciate that he organised food, I expressly told him not to do this. I ate the burger anyway because it was late, I was hungry, and I didn't want to let the food go to waste. Also, the only healthy option we had at home ready to eat was a salad that has passed its use-by date. He got very annoyed at me, telling me I was so ungrateful because many people would be happy to have a partner who organised food for them when they get home, and that I shouldn't have eaten the burger if I felt that way, and I shouldn't blame him for my lack of willpower. But it's exactly because of my lack of willpower that I told him not to order this food for me anymore. So I would like to know, AITA, for telling him off for getting the delivery and eating the burger and chips anyway. Story 5, should I quit this job? Background: I have 10 years of experience in medical front office management, coding and billing, but no certifications. I finished a bachelor's degree, May 2023, in unrelated field, history. I am waiting now for my teaching license to come through, so I will be teaching high school social studies fall 2024. I'm married, almost 37, with 3 kids ranging in age from 3 to 12. My husband works for the same company in a different department and has for 6 years. Pretty much everyone who works there is related to or knows someone else who works there. 6 months ago, I started working for the billing company of a medical office I have previously worked for 8 of my 10 years of experience. My role is officially titled Insurance AR. When I interviewed, I asked for the salary range and they said $16.19, which I thought was low, but I needed a job in the meantime to get started and make a longer-term plan. When they offered me $17, I accepted because they told me after 90 days I would get a raise and they wanted to move me into leadership because of my experience. Only the supervisor has billing certifications and I have more experience and formal education than everyone except 3 people in my department, including the supervisor. It's a super chill culture. We can wear whatever we can wear whatever experience. This is just my thinking with that, because you can doesn't mean you should. So it's a brilliant story, like chasing lilies. You are a sailor if you don't have a shag. Benefits are fine. PTO sucks 5 days a year, 3 sick days a year. I've had 1 review so far during my first 90 days. The pros were that my boss was really happy with my work and had no corrections/negative feedback. I have even helped them figure a couple things out that they were stuck on and couldn't figure out why certain claims were being denied that way. The day I had my review actually was the day after I had to call in because my 3-year-old was very sick and had pneumonia. Because I was dealing with that, I didn't notify my boss until noon. Once I got my daughter situated, that was the day we got the diagnosis, and we're trying to determine what was wrong, getting treatment, etc. When your kid can't breathe, you don't give a damn about anything else. I had never done that before at any job, but I was written up for it. Another employee apparently no call, no showed the same day. It wasn't his first offence and he got fired. Fast forward to now, 4 months after the write-up and 6 months since starting there, and I've not had any further follow-up or feedback from my boss, and my work is awesome. I am doing a higher volume of claims than everyone except the supervisor, and I have workaholic tendencies anyway. If we work a certain amount of hours a day, they auto-deduct a lunch from our time, and I work through lunch every day. That's on me. I know I'm literally giving them my time there. I know that I'm leaving in a couple months to start teaching, but no one else does. But $17 for the amount of work I put in is not cutting it. I still have to support my family in the meantime. I was looking up similar medical billing roles in my area to see what was out there and found the posting for my role. We need like 6 more billers for our volume. We bill claims for 92 busy OBGYN providers, and there are 9 of us, and the salary range my company listed in $17.22/HR. They didn't start me in the middle, they started me at the bottom, and they lied to my fricking face. I haven't gotten the raise. Is that because they wrote me up? Because it has also now been an additional 90 days. I want to put my notice in and walk because I feel like they don't appreciate me and I feel like they were deceitful about it, then made me feel like the bad guy when my kid was sick. I went to In-N-Out Burger last night and they are hiring, and I joked about it, but the salary range is $17.50 to $21.0. They also have 14 days PTO and 6 sick days a year. I could literally make more working at a burger place with a good culture than working in medical billing with 10 years of experience. WTF. I could also get another medical billing job in the same range and just get a better job. Keep in mind, I will only have whatever job I keep/get for 3-4 more months. What do? He is cross-posted, so sorry if anyone sees it multiple times.